A lot of people are thinking this. So a lot of people are on the wrong side of this trade. And typically, we see moves when most people are not expecting it. Okay. And I've seen some influencers, big accounts, say, I'm bearish. Okay. I'm expecting a nuke from here. Um, but a lot and probably more are saying the opposite. So usually markets tend to make the fools out of the most. And so I would not be surprised if this played out, just like we said. We came up to the midline, and this, in the coming hours, sorry, gave us this move. And again, look at this resistance right here. Okay, I'm going to show you another example. Hello everyone, my name's Dean, let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is February 24th, 2024, 2/24/24. And I believe with a high degree of probability that we are going to get one final major flush in the market. All right, Bitcoin is going to nuke to the downside, and that will also bring a lot of collateral damage in the altcoin space. Many alts will go down a lot. Okay, some will go down less, but some will go down more, as always. But people should not overlook, they should not ignore the signs on the charts. So that's what I really want to talk about here, because there's so much bullishness, and I get it. We're so very excited. The halving is coming up. We haven't gotten much movement for hundreds of days, maybe over 1,000 days in some assets, and we're finally getting some movement, right? The last episode, I was on here talking about how as Bitcoin ranged, right? So you can see here, Bitcoin's been in this 9+ day range, going up and down and up and down and up and down for 9+ days. Meanwhile, you have some altcoins that have been absolutely flying. Just on this watch list right here, you can see Blur's up 23% for the day. You can see ETH DYDX is up 11%. Do you see what I mean? Like, that's like real alt season shit. Like, things are up. Ren is up 10%, but be very careful. Let me give you an example, right? I talked about three things. Let's just stay on Ren, and then let's get back to the main topic of Bitcoin, right? Ren, for instance, it's up 10% for the day, right? If you were not really savvy, chart savvy, if you were really like reckless and just like, ooh, green candles, I'm going to long and I'm going to get in, you'd be making a mistake. Because here, what we clearly have is an impulse to the upside, a break of structure, right? Down back to support. If I zoom out, you'll see what this support is, right? Go on the daily. You can see that this support is the support or previous resistance, right? Because we were below it for quite some time. You can see here, whoops. Okay, there we go. You can see that we've been below this resistance for quite some time, since November, right? So for many months, for 100+ days, we've been under this resistance. We finally broke it. Okay, we broke it to the upside in that move a couple days back. So what's likely to happen, let's go back on the smaller time frames, for this particular asset, Ren, what's likely to happen is that you do get 1, 2, 3 waves, right? Because most corrective patterns come in 3, and that would also go very nicely with the time. If this is a true pure impulse, right? It took about 1 day and 20 hours, right? That wave 1 or initial impulse would be matched with a 3-wave consolidation or 3-wave correction lasting around the same time, right? So that would give us until Sunday morning, basically, to retest that previous resistance of 114 days as new support before continuing. So This is an example of an altcoin that is also looking bearish but bullish, right? Altcoins are closer to the bottom. I've been saying this for quite some time. Bitcoin is looking at the $32,000 level, right? Link is looking, all the way down to the $8.50 level. But there's some altcoins that have yet to run, like Ren, that are very bullish, even though as Bitcoin corrects, they will also correct. Do not be mistaken. Don't think that just because we are in alt season, if Bitcoin corrects, nothing will happen to your favorite altcoin. With a high degree of likelihood, your favorite altcoin will also correct. So for instance, Ren is likely to correct a 13% move to the downside to retest that 114-day resistance as support. All right, enough about Ren, but I just wanted to give an example of what I'm seeing in the crypto altcoin space in general. We have some bullish moves, but even those bullish moves are likely to correct given what Bitcoin is threatening to do. Now, what is Bitcoin threatening to do? And why do I feel the need to make this video today? All right, let's go back on the 4-hourly time frame. So, 4-hourly time frame, like I said in the beginning of the video, I think it's this one, yeah? Am I on the right? Sorry, 1 second. I think I pulled up the other chart. Where are my marks? Okay, here it is. I just did it on this chart. Okay, so basically, like I said before, 9 days and 12 hours in this range, okay? And I always talk about this on this channel. The way you break ranges, right, either to the upside or downside, is you do your consolidations, 2 degrees maybe basing in a pivot or Wyckoff consolidation, right? You complete that. And then at the end, you typically test that midline, then leave the range. What do you think we're doing now? We're testing the midline of that 9-day range. We just did that with the move from the bottom to the midline, and that, if this is to break down in the coming hours, right, this is going to be the move that breaks down. The test of this midline down. Also, remember, today, the 24th, is the full moon. What do we know about full moons? Full moons represent local market bottoms. Now, it hasn't happened yet, but if it's a full moon and we have yet to have a serious move to the downside, guess what? It's probably coming. And we know the data shows that typically financial markets reflect a local market bottom on full moons 0 to 3 days after the full moon event. So that would mean between now and 3 days, so the 24th, 25th, 26th, right? 26th, which is Monday, we should expect that move to bottom out, okay? So what I'm saying, based off of what we're seeing in the charts, is not only can we expect, with a high degree of probability, a big move to the downside, but we can expect it to nuke really, really fast, okay? Now, I felt the need to make this video. I know I've mentioned this a ton of times, but, I'm on social media a lot, especially Twitter, and I'm seeing a lot of influencers, and this is common, but it just felt like more than usual, completely blind to the TA, and these are kind of supposed to be TA people. Sam Price, Crypto Lifer says, no one's seeing this? Did Bitcoin not break out of the pattern and push through the trend line? 100K by November 2024 is what this chart says. Maybe he's also acknowledging the short-term move from where we're at now all the way back down to 30 some odd thousand. Maybe I'm ignoring that. Maybe this is out of context, but this is a bullish tweet. It's a big account. So if you're seeing this as, a novice, you're probably thinking he's bullish, like not just in the long term, but also in the short term. I don't know who this is, but, they're showing a bearish triangle right here and saying, Bitcoin giving 0 Fs, flipping a bearish pattern to continue moving up on the weekend when ETF markets aren't even open, right? Whatever. It's a small account. Bigger account. There's still 36 hours left, but Bitcoin is set to achieve the second straight weekly close at the highest levels since November 2021. Again, this is the problem with price versus price action. If you understand anything about markets, price isn't as important as price action. You want to look at price action, the patterns, price in the context of what's happened before and what's likely to happen next. Okay? And let's do one more. Bitcoin, Ash Crypto says, Bitcoin is about to break from this bullish ascending triangle. The next target is 55K. A lot of people are thinking this. So a lot of people are on the wrong side of this trade. And typically, we see moves when most people are not expecting it. Okay? And I've seen some influencers, big accounts, say, I'm bearish. Okay? I'm expecting a nuke from here. But a lot, and probably more, are saying the opposite. So usually markets tend to make the fools out of the most. And so I would not be surprised if this played out, just like we said. We came up to the midline, and this, in the coming hours, gave us this move. And again, look at this resistance right here. Okay, I'm going to show you another example. On this channel, I've been talking about Link quite a bit as a great example of a bearish altcoin, right? Of an altcoin that has already run, that you should not expect to make a run anytime soon. Actually, I tweeted about it. Let's look at my tweet and then let's look at the price action. Guys, if you're getting value, please like, share, and subscribe. Consider buying me a coffee at the pin link below. All right, let's look at my let's look at the tweet that I made, because I kind of broke it down quite well. Here we go. Sometimes I post about crypto on Twitter, but a lot of times I just use crypto for fun. All right, anyway, I said Link. So on a high time frame, right? And here I think this is a daily chart, yeah? You're likely retesting this $8.50, right? You could see here clear breakout of this inverse head and shoulders, boom, boom, boom. That would be a 52% move. Now, let's zoom in. You can see on the 4-hourly time frame, at the top of this move, you have a really nice head and shoulders bearish reversal pattern, okay? And then even smaller time frame, on the 15-minute time frame, you can see, just like in Bitcoin, you have that resistance, that descending resistance that's been forming over the past few days, okay? 3+ days, right? So this is super, super bearish. Now let's look more carefully at what Chainlink is doing and why I'm so bearish on Chainlink and why I've been bearish on Chainlink. Just an example, Chainlink's not the only one that has run that I'm expecting a big move down from, but just use this as an example. If the coin has been up significantly within the past few months, it's likely going to nuke and retrace considerably, okay? On the daily time frame, and I've done this analysis before, but again, it's just like an example of why it's very likely that when Bitcoin moved down to the $30,000 range, $32,000 range, you're also going to get a massive move here, okay? Look at this. This is, I mean, one of the clearest examples of a range, right? I don't know if you can find a cleaner example of a resistance over hundreds of days. I mean, hundreds of days, Link traded as a rule under this trend line right here, right? For 500 days. And finally, it decided to break it right here, giving us this move, okay? Now, TA101, previous resistance must be retested as support. Why is no one remembering their TA101? Maybe nobody knows their TA101. It's basic. It has nothing to do with anything complicated. It's just basic technical analysis, okay? So we expect for this to eventually come back down to this level, retesting this right here. It's 500 days. It's significant by virtue of the fact that it's 500 days. It is not a small move. That is almost guaranteed, okay? As anything is guaranteed in this space. There's not much that's guaranteed, but that is almost guaranteed. Now the question is, when is it going to happen? How is it going to happen? So let's look more closely. Now, on the 4-hourly time frame, I think it would be a good idea to analyze this movement right here. Okay, this is your initial breakup structure, more likely than not. Okay, basically, what does that mean? That means that you put in your impulse 5-wave move, 5 waves to the top, and that was what we call your orthodox high. That's the high of your technical move, i.e., everything from here on out has been a corrective consolidation or distributive move. Okay, so I'm looking at everything in Chainlink from the high of 1658 set on November 11th of 2023 as a preparation for the nuke down. Okay, that's basically what Elliott wave is telling us, given that you have your initial breakup structure and then your counter. That's your first degree of AB basing. Another breakup structure, another counter. That's your second degree of AB basing. A third very clear breakup structure, and then a final counter, which we would call the pivot, or the third AB base, right? A pivot. Why are these two moves? Anytime you have a break and then a counter, a break and a counter, the counter has to act within the phi ratio of the break. What does that mean? I'm basically saying that if this is true and these two are the same, or part and parcel of the same move, it has to be under the 1618. And as you can see here, I just need to illustrate this because or else it's just like, it seems arbitrary. This A wave and this B wave go together and can only go together theoretically as long as that B wave respects the phi ratio of this A wave, and that means these can be together. Okay, and so what you basically see is 2 degrees of AB basing in a pivot, and that pivot has since now created a rounded top, and that's that head and shoulders pattern that we were talking about here. So essentially, in terms of Wyckoff analysis, what you're seeing here is a bunch of movement and what we call a spring, basically a move up and beyond the perceivable limit, right, of the range, which is here, right, the top of the range. You see, it looks like we broke the range, but actually, a lot of times in a distribution, in a consolidation that's accumulative, what you see is the last and final move is a final test of any liquidity. Is anyone else buying? Is anyone else buying? Is anyone else buying? At the highest possible levels that they could possibly sell the asset. And the sellers, the smart sellers, are like, oh, you guys are buying? Great, we're going to sell super high. And that's the final sell before the sell-off. Okay, so that's Chainlink. That's the in-depth analysis of this move right here, and why I see it going to $8.50, and why I see most assets going down considerably. Now, just like I said, some may go down less than others. As you can see in the Bitcoin dominance chart, right? We have, let's zoom out for a second. Okay, so Bitcoin dominance is a measure of Bitcoin's relative dominance vis-a-vis the rest of the cryptocurrency markets. And this is the move that you can expect most altcoins to run in. Okay, so when you're thinking about like alt season and like, you know, when are all my favorite altcoins going to run? It's when this right here breaks down and gives you that move. Now, have we gotten that yet? Not quite. As you can see, let's zoom in. You can see here, you've broken this support level, but you're retesting right here. And that retest is likely not even to be a retest. What is likely to happen is this. This is probably an A wave. This is probably a B wave. You're likely to get an impulse like this. That's what I'm seeing. Retesting that right here. that support level up there that was broken, that was never retested. And that's quite a long period. Again, head and shoulders, major support, never retested as resistance. I think you get that when Bitcoin nukes. This is likely to fly up here. Once it hits this level right here, goes down, that's the massive alt season. So for people watching this channel, for people interested in trading these markets, you want to wait for Bitcoin dominance to come up here. You want to wait for this final flush of the cryptocurrency markets before you go all in. That's all I want to say. Because, I mean, I'm seeing some crazy shit on the Twitter TL. Some people averaging down their longs. Like, do you know what that means? That's basically they're in a long and they're like, yeah, it can go down. It can correct. Let it correct. Somebody was saying that about Chainlink. So they're in a Chainlink long, right? I don't know what their entry is. I don't know what their leverage is, what their margins is. I don't know. But if they're like, oh, I'll just average down, I'll just buy more, that's suicide. If that asset is to go down 50 some odd %, I mean, you're just throwing money away because you're likely to get liquidated. In any case, that's all I've got for you today. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was useful. Like, share, and subscribe. Consider buying me a coffee at the pinned link in the comments below. And I'll see you next time. Trade safe. Bye.